Hi folks, this is Dr. Cywes, the CarbAddictionDoc, and a little while ago I did a more extensive discussion about some of the biochemistry of why we may stall out and what to do about it. But there are certain additional little elements that I want you to think about. So this video is an extension of plateaus, leveling off, and how to kickstart things. A buddy of mine, Andreas Ehrenfeld, the diet doctor, said something very profound and something very simple. And really, it seems so obvious, but I love the statement. In order for low carb to keep working, you have to keep eating low carb. I know that sounds simple, but it is such an important starting point. And Andreas is very pragmatic in that regard. And low carb isn't a little bit. In the addiction model, it is as close to no carb as you can be, because carb creep is an enemy. We spoke about that before. The other piece that I think is so important is how we approach eating. And one of the things that fat people do, or type 2 diabetics, is we all have these really busy lives. And then we insert eating into the fabric of our busy days. So I'm sitting at my desk working on my computer, and it's lunchtime, so I pull out the lunch, I pull out a little thing, and I'm sitting there eating while I'm working. Well, you're not taking in nutrition. You're basically having a snack that you've now somehow distorted to call a meal. If you are too busy to stop your day and sit down and have a meal, you're not eating for the nutritional value, you're eating for the emotional value. So one of the early concepts that we try to get our patients to do in the carb addiction model is to flip their lives around. In other words, what I would like you to do is to preempt every day when you are going to have 1 or 2 meals a day. And you really want to restrict yourself to 2 calorie-consuming events per day that take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, and you anchor your busy day around those. So that you decide when you're going to have your first meal, when you're going to have your second meal, and rearrange your day around those meals rather than look at your busy day and plug eating into the context of those meals. And so you want to know when you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. A little bit like your dog. For those of you that are dog owners or have ever owned a dog, we typically feed our dogs twice a day, and we feed it at the same time each day, or almost the same time, and mostly the same type of food. Now, I'm not saying we have to eat the same type of food, but the same classes of food. But you really want to anchor your day so that your brain and your body understands when it's going to be fed. It is not opportunistic. And the reality is this: if you are too busy on a given day to sit down with a plate of food and a knife and fork and have a meal, you are unlikely to die of anorexia if you skip that meal. The default option is not to eat rather than to eat on the go. And that is often a cause of stagnation. So you want to anchor your day around your meals rather than insert meals into your day. And certainly no snacking. The next thing is the difference between a way of life that you're proud of and a diet. Diets are all, by definition, deprivational. They take away something you love to do because it caused you harm. So on a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, they're depriving you of carbohydrates. And so when somebody offers you, oh no, I'm not allowed to have that, I'm on a keto diet, I can't have. It's just a question of time before you have it, folks. Or you find some distorted way to allow yourself to have it. Not allowed to have ice cream. There's keto ice cream. Okay, I'll try some of that. Crash burn. What you want is arrogant integrity. That's disgusting. How the hell can anybody eat that stuff? If you're a smoker, you know what I'm talking about, because I bet you an ex-smoker who used to love to smoke has come at you about your smoking. Have arrogant integrity. Arrogant integrity is pride in the fact that you don't do that and leveling a sense of disgust at that food that you used to love to eat. Arrogant integrity, breaking habits, can only happen if you don't do them. You cannot break a habit if you're still doing it. And you cannot form new habits if you don't do them every day. So develop arrogant integrity about the fact that you do not eat carbohydrates, as much as the Jew or the Muslim doesn't eat pork, or the vegetarian, the vegan, doesn't eat meat. They all are fine to be arrogant about the integrity with which they don't eat certain things. Why not you with your carbohydrates? This is not a diet, this is a way of life. But at the same time, and I know this may conflict with arrogant integrity, is be humble. Have enormous humility in terms of understanding that you are an addict. Because if you are not humble to that concept, your arrogance may become, ha ha ha, I'll never do this again, I'm just going to have a taste. You know how many heroin addicts die in the week or two after they've come out of rehab, having gone through a successful rehab program? I got this, I can do this, I'm just going to have one more hit to prove to myself that I've got this. Blue and dead. You know how many fat people have done the same thing? Oh, I can cook. I'm going to bake for Easter. I'm going to bake for Christmas because I don't eat carbohydrates. I'm crash and burn. Oh, my husband needs to have those M&Ms in the house. I've got to buy them for him, but I won't touch them. I don't like M&Ms. C&B. C&B is crash and burn. If you were an alcoholic, your husband would not have alcohol in the house, most likely. And if he did, you do not need to have a husband in your house. Because that is disrespectful. So, arrogant integrity is necessary combined with humility. Are you going to be perfect with this? No, you're not. You're going to relapse. Relapses happen. So have a strategy of how to deal with relapses. And I call it OAC. Ownership, Analysis, Correction. We are so good at validating and justifying and minimizing and trivializing and rationalizing mistakes that by the time we've massaged a mistake, it didn't happen. Oh, it was my birthday, it was just a pinch, it was a strawberry, it was a berry, it just had a little bit of chocolate. You gave yourself permission to eat a carbohydrate, period. Addiction management is binary. You either did or you didn't. And if that was a beer and you were an alcoholic, that's the way I look at things. But even given that, I relapse. I screw up, I make mistakes. But I own them. I become introspective. I analyze why I made the mistake, usually an emotional reason, good or bad, up or down. Own the mistake, analyze why it happened, and come up with a plan of correction, a corrective action plan, so that when you're in the same situation again, you don't make the same mistake again. Don't beat yourself up for the mistakes. Own them, analyze them, correct them. And that's how we deal with leveling off, with relapses, with stagnation. And then, if you have enough pain from that, put yourself through the eye of the needle where you are very specific. No carbohydrates, have a bridge item, get out and deal with your emotional needs, and eat real food once or twice a day. It's not difficult, folks. It's not difficult. The greatest challenge is seeing it. Blindness to self accompanies addiction. And a large part of addiction management is personal visibility. Being able to look at yourself through somebody else's eyes and then being able to laugh at yourself like I often do. Because, come on, man, really? But then fixing it. Good luck out there. It's a tough world.